Good afternoon and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got on the ramp is a 2014 Fiat 500L 1.3 multi-jet. Now the customer's complaining of this vehicle going into limp mode and the engine management light is coming on. As you can see, we've only covered 81,000 miles on this vehicle. Now first things first, what we're going to do is jump on the diag and see what is happening. Now before we go getting involved, does anybody know a good film that I can put across this screen to stop it glaring? Because I think it spoils the video a little bit. Right, now we've addressed that situation, let's jump around and we're going to do a bit of a diagnostic scan on it and see what fault codes that we are getting. It's rapid, this thing. Now for anybody who's asking, this is the launch Euro Tab 3. It's warm today, innit? Now I also have got my little portable air conditioning machine because it's awful in this workshop. It really is. Right, let's do a bit of a high-speed scan and see what fault codes we're getting. Straight into the ECM, variable geometry turbo position sensor deviation signal above the upper limit. Right, let's jump in and have a little look at live data. Now this really is where I need to be getting a little bit of a microphone because it does get a little bit noisy. Now if we have a little look at the boost pressure actuator required position is a 0 and the actual boost pressure actuator measure position is 0.17 mil. Now if I just disconnect the vacuum side of it, you'll see it jumping. And see how it's pulling it down smooth, roughly? Well, that is the vanes in the turbo sticking. Now even if I swing it round here, if I can connect it, you'll see them like jittering. Now before I go ahead and say yes, it is 100% that turbo, we're going to be checking the vacuum lines going to it. What I'm going to be using is a Nielsen vacuum and pressure pump. It's a brake bleeding kit. Now these are only cheap and I've had this absolutely years. I'm going to connect this up too. Can I do this over-handed? If I connect it up now, you should see that gauge pulling the vac, as you can see. So we know that them vacuum lines are perfect. Now with that engine stopped, what I've done is connected up a vacuum tester to it, and it is a Nielsen. This is in my link tree. Brilliant tool. I've had it years and years. We can jump on the key now, give it a start, and you should see that needle going down. That is pulling perfect vacuum. Now if I go ahead and turn the key off, if the pipes are good, that vacuum gauge, that little arm will stay with a good vacuum on it, which it is. If we cycle the key now, you will see it jumping, jittering, like tick, 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 like that sort of thing, just as it's venting off. That is absolutely perfect. Now just with them few basic tests, we can now confirm that them variable vanes in that turbo have seized, or they are sticking. It is going to require a turbo. Now there is chemicals out there that will probably free them off. I've never had any great success doing it, never ever. So we're going to go ahead and put a turbine on it. Now these turbos on these is not that bad of a job to replace really. You've got to take all the air box off and all the intake pipe going to the air box. This heat shield, that heat shield, and then we can pull the DPF off out of the way. With those heat shields now out of the way, really the only bolt that's going to give you any problem is that one down the back there going into the manifold. If that snaps, we got a lot of drama, but luckily enough I've used a little bit of launch power loop plus in it and it has come undone relatively easy. Now we are pushing on. It is now 25 to 5 I'm going to see if I can get this DPF off before I go home tonight. Well, we've pretty much got it somewhere near off, apart from one bolt, which has been a little bit fiddly from underneath. I'm not bothered now, it's 10 to 5, I'm going to put my tools away, and I'm going home.
A few moments later.
Well, we are now into Wednesday morning. Where do we leave off? Trying to get the DPF off, and there's one sticky bolt. Now I have come in this morning and I've got that bolt out. If we flip it around, you can see now that that DPF is out of the way. I have disconnected the oil feed pipe, which is at the top there, which is a T45, I think. Yeah, T45. Now we can send the vehicle back up in the air and undo the two bolts off the bottom of the turbine. Now with that DPF fully out of the way, we can concentrate on the two bolts, on the two nuts that are on the bottom of the turbo, which I have removed and come undone relatively easily. And what I've used on it is a 1/2-inch ratchet with a long extension. We're going to unplug the wastegate position sensor now, and then we can drop it back down, get the turbine off. And there we have it, that turbo now is off that vehicle. Now as you can see, I've pulled the hot side off it, just to show you, if you don't know what they are. Variable vane years ago used to have a penny, it's almost like a penny in there, like a wastegate to build up exhaust pressure, but these now have changed to variable vane, and they've got little fins which turn like this. Now I'm going to try and show you now the best way I can. You can't really see it, it's virtually impossible to show you, but however, if I turn it around now, the actuator itself, you'll see it sticking by here. I can get it. You'll see it sticking down here before it pushes there, if that makes sense. You see it, just that minimal amount, and you give it a little bit more and it does. Can you see that? So it is sticking. Now if you move around to the brand new one, if we get the wastegate arm, you can move it nice and freely with your fingers. As you can see now, I've gone ahead and I've put this turbo on. Before we put the oil feed pipe on, what we're going to do is get the syringe that comes with the turbo. I'm going to give it a little bit of a prime, get as much oil in there as we can so it's lubricated on its first initial startup. Well, that car now is fully back together. Everything's nice and tight. Make sure that you couple all the electrical connectors up on all your vacuum pipes and DPF pressure pipes and stuff like that. We're going to jump in the car now. What I'm going to do is, let me turn the screen brightness down on this. Jump in the ECM. Wait for it to do its thing. Make sure you got your ignition on. We're going to go to read fault codes and clear the DTC. We've got no fault codes. And if we back out now, we're going to go to special function, miscellaneous functions, go down to variable geometry turbo and or turbo position sensor replacement, which is what we have done. The command carries out a component learn. Continue. Warning, this procedure turbo, yeah, we've done that. This procedure shall be allowed only if the following conditions are fulfilled. Conditions: no error turbo position sensor, brake pedal must not be pressed, coolant temperature must be greater than 70 degrees. Well, we are at cold. I'm gonna have to get it started. Right, well, while I'm waiting for this jalopy to warm up, I wonder how many people out there that are like fitting components which have failed on vehicles, that once they've fitted new components, they're not relearning them back to the vehicle. I bet you there's quite a few. Obviously it needs doing because of all adaptations and stuff like that, but yeah, I bet you there's quite a few. Right, well, we are getting that temperature up very, very slowly. As you can see, we are at, oh, it's a bloody screen, 63.5 degrees. So we're getting there slowly. Right, well, we are now at 70 degrees. By the time we get to it, it's probably going to be 71 degrees. Special functions again. Miscellaneous, variable geometry turbo. Continue. Engine coolant, we are all well within what it's asking us to do. Click continue. Start the engine and press continue. Procedure completely successful. How's that? Simple. Right, now after everything is complete, what I want to show you is now I'm probably going to get a fault code for this, but I can't clear it. But I just want to show you. See this arm here that we're sticking? If I unplug the vacuum, right, that is moving now, nice and freely. Now I also want to show you on the live data as well. You can see it previously when I diagnosed it. You can see when it was pulling a vacuum, it was running rough. Well, just say running rough. If I go to unplug it now, you'll see it this side. That's unplugged, that's plugged in. You get the drift of it. And that is one successfully diagnosed and repaired Fiat 500L with a turbo vane fault. So anyway, I'm going to take it down the road. There's no reason for it not to be okay. Yeah, I don't know what I've got on next. I think I've got some leaf springs or a Renault trafficking with an upstream pressure fault. It's a Groundhog Day. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video and we will see you on the next one. Let's get it sent.